In this video, I will be discussing whether or not coal seam gas is a sustainable energy source, explaining the pros and cons of the use as well as the various viewpoints and how it has worked overseas. Firstly, what is coal seam gas? Before I begin, I will define some terms surrounding this issue. Conventional oil and gas is that which lays not very deep within the surface of the earth, sitting inside softer and easier to reach pockets, where no extra effort is needed to exploit it. Unconventional oil and gas, however, is much further underground, up to 1 kilometre. Inside hard-to-reach pockets that require extra labour, time and procedures to remove, most of which have negative effects on the environment, for example chemical use. Removal of gases from the earth is called fracking. Coal seam gas is an unconventional and invasive energy source that requires the drilling of wells deep into the earth, between 200 metres and 1 kilometre, and pumping water into the ground. The pressure from the water pushes up methane gases trapped inside coal beds. The gas and water are brought to the surface and separated. Water is taken to a water treatment plant and the methane is taken to gas treatment plants and power plants. Coal seam gas exploitation began in Australia in 1976. The first wells were drilled above the Bowen Basin in Queensland, and since then has spread down the east coast of Australia. The use of coal seam gas has been controversial since it began, raising arguments between environmentalists, who see it as an environmentally unfriendly energy source, energy companies, who want to use it as a cheaper alternative to coal, and farmers and the general public, who are losing their jobs and land to fracking operations. Some of the major impacts on the environment from fracking include land clearing to make room for the wells, a drop in the water table as a result of land clearing and water pumping, leakages of contaminated water and gas, often from the fracking operations, which leads to pollution of surrounding water sources and also air pollution. One of the positives to coal seam gas is that Queensland alone provides up to 18,000 jobs, as well as earning the state $850 million a year. According to the Energy Supply Association of Australia, the use of gas for energy is becoming more popular and coal use is decreasing. This gives energy companies a chance to continue exploiting coal seam gas. Many of the coal seam gas wells are built on farmland. This is causing an increase in unpopularity amongst farmers and as well as the general public, as they are losing their farms and livelihoods to coal seam gas. Another reason the general public are against this idea is that there are reports of health impacts on communities surrounding the wells. Mental illnesses are increasing due to stress, and leakages of chemicals and gases are causing lung irritations in many communities. The credibility of these arguments can be questioned, as all sides of the story have their biases. Energy companies have their profits in mind, whereas farmers' jobs are at stake. In the article, farmers demand halt to coal seam gas mining to safeguard food and water security. It can be seen that the farmer's argument is not as credible as it could be. A fourth-generation farmer is interviewed, who obviously doesn't want to lose his family farm. As well as this, there is an inappropriate appeal to authority as they use the opinion of a country singer. Australia is one of the world's largest producers of coal seam gas, but it is also produced and exploited greatly in countries such as the United States, Canada, Kazakhstan, and India. France is the largest producer of coal seam gas in Europe, but in 2011 banned the exploitation of the gas in favour of the environment. After diving into this controversial topic of sustainability, I believe that coal seam gas is not a sustainable energy source, and even though Australia is one of the largest producers, we should follow the example of the French government and either completely ban this practice or decrease our use and focus on more environmentally friendly options.